What up? And away we go. Welcome back to one more episode of Pastor Stack's podcast. Thank you for tuning in one more time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell somebody that knows somebody. I appreciate all of you going on another podcast journey with me. We got some good stuff we're going to talk about today. Some really fun things for us to discuss and some thought-provoking things, hopefully. So let's get into it. As always, we're going to talk about what's on my mind, what's in my heart, what's in my soul, and last but not least, I got somebody that needs to go on the prayer list, and I mean heartfelt and sincere, because I think sometimes people just crumble under pressure. And so we're going to get to the prayer list at the end, but before we get there, let's start with what's on my mind. First up, the Power Rangers. I know you like the Power Rangers. That's first up. Yeah, I heard something about the Power Rangers. And if you grew up in the 90s beyond, you know what the Power Rangers are. You know who the Power Rangers are. Depending on your generation, there was a different show. There's been the Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the time traveling Power Rangers, the prehistoric Power Rangers, the Power Rangers that were on motorcycles. There's been a lot of different iterations of the Power Rangers, but this is the thing that made me want to stop and talk about the Power Rangers. First of all, I wanted to be a Power Ranger back in the day. Power Rangers came out in 1993. When it came out, instant hit. Instant classic. I wanted to be a Power Ranger. I wanted to be the Red Ranger. Did you want to be a Power Ranger? You wanted to be a blue one. Did you want to be a Power Ranger, Roy? You wanted to be, oh, okay. When Tommy came on the scene, because when Tommy came on the scene, y'all know Tommy was wrecking shop. And I think he took somebody's girl. So like Tommy came on the scene, he was a whole different kind of dude. But this is what I found out. They were paying the original cast $600 an episode. Now, just to put that in context, Power Rangers was making millions of dollars. By 2001, they had already eclipsed $1 billion franchise. And as it stands right now, it's over a $6 billion franchise, which I was surprised to hear that, because like the graphics are still like 90s-ish, but they got a formula that works. Anyway, I digress. It ain't the point of this. $600 a week for the original cast. You know, Zach and Kim and whoever the other ones were. I can't really. And Jason, Billy, yeah. Shout out to Billy. He stayed on the show the longest. I guess that $600 was good to him. But I also found out that most of the cast, the reason they left was over contract dispute, because they wanted to get paid more than $600. But $600 was all the producers and show was willing to give the cast, which I thought was just weird and not right. But at the same time, it reminded me of when my wife and I were down in Atlanta years ago. We went to the CNN building, and when we were at the CNN building, they were telling us different things. You know, it took us on a tour through the CNN building. I wonder if they still do the tours, but it took us on a tour. And one of the things I remember they said to me, that Ted Turner, when he started CNN and 24-hour news, all of his news broadcasters were paid very little. And the reason he could pay them very little is because he said, if I can put you on TV, I don't have to pay people much, because just being on TV to them is payment enough. And I was like, well, you know what? To a whole lot of people, that would be enough. You don't have to pay me as much if I can be on TV, so I can be famous, but not rich, but famous. Now, I don't know. It kind of, to be famous, but don't have the wealth to go with it, just seems like a bother. Because, I mean, like, who want to be known that bad if nothing, no monetary value was attached to it? But once again, I'm talking to probably a whole lot of people. Like, I'll sign up for that. But I just wanted to say shout out to the original Power Rangers. You started something that has lasted up to this day. Franchise is going strong, but I can't believe they only gave y'all $600. But I guess what Ted Turner said, you don't have to pay people much if you can ensure that people see them by, putting them on the screen. So I hope y'all doing better now. I hope you got better contracts, and Go Power Rangers. All right. Up next, I want to talk about the things that happened in Maui about a week and a half ago, maybe even 2 weeks to this point. I was out of town doing some traveling at the time, so I wasn't paying close attention to it. But I have seen now the devastation that happened in Maui. And I know some of you have seen the same devastation that happened in Maui. Just to catch you up, just in case you're not sure what I'm talking about, Maui had some natural disaster of some, I don't know if it was like a tornado or like fire that came through, but it was a disaster. It had a high death toll. The wildfires of Maui resulted in the loss of 114 people. They're still searching for some people. And once again, this is over a week ago. There were mass evacuations. The fires forced tens of thousands of residents and tourists to evacuate the island, causing widespread displacement. And on top of all of that, that destruction of the fires has caused about $4 billion in damage. So, how does The Rock and Oprah then come into a conversation about this devastation that happened in Maui? Well, this is how. Oprah and The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, they got together. They released this video. In the video, they are saying how they were watching the devastation in Maui and discussing what they can do, how they can help. And they offered that if anybody wants to help the people in Maui get relief and aid and money and things of that nature, that they set up a fund that people can send the money to, and they'll make sure that they get it to the proper people. I don't know, and this caused apparently a controversy. And I was like, well, why would this cause a controversy? But here's what people were saying. Why don't you just give money? You're rich. Why are you asking me? You have more money than I do. So why would you ask me, somebody that has less, to give? Why don't you just give? But that's why I want to discuss this, because people are so ready to argue, they don't even take time to listen to what somebody is saying. This is what Oprah, and listen, Oprah, she ain't, I've never watched her show, so I'm not trying to defend Oprah. I'm not trying to defend The Rock. I'm just highlighting this to show how people argue about anything and miss the whole point, because The Rock, he sent money. Oprah, she sent money. All they were saying was, if you want to send money, we are setting up an organization to make sure what you send gets into the right hands. That's all they were saying, because we all know that there are organizations and charitable organizations out there that don't get the money to the people they say they will. So that's what they were doing. So when people started arguing about, well, why they asking for my money? They weren't asking for your money. They were saying, if you want a credible, reliable source to get what you have to people that need it, we will help facilitate that. But people don't worry. But people don't even take time to even hear what the truth is, or to figure out what somebody's actually saying. They look at the narrative, they look at the imagery, they jump to a conclusion, and that's really all that they needed. So shout out to Oprah. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. Shout out to Oprah. But yeah, anyway, shout out to Oprah. Shout out to Dwayne Johnson for trying. And for the rest of the people that are out there that sometimes think about trying something, but you don't because you may be misunderstood, or somebody may denigrate it or talk negatively about it, so you just don't even try. Don't even worry about that. People gonna always have something to say. But if you have something positive that God has laid on your heart to do for your community or whoever, then just understand people will come with their comments. But if your intentions and your heart is in the right place, that's really all that matters. And on to the next one, because this really is the perfect set. There was 5 minutes already. There was 5 minutes on that one.
4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. So Malik helped me keep track of time. On to the next. I feel like I'm going fast. I feel like I need to slow down, but maybe. Yeah. All right. He's saying I'm in the flow. I keep going with the flow. The next thing I want to talk about is on my mind. And I really debated about whether I was even going to discuss this or not, because there's so many people that are jumping into this conversation. I was like, maybe it's not even a point for me to jump into this conversation. But Here it is. Been a lot of conversation about this and centered around this. Are black women protected? The reason this has become a conversation again in the social media sphere and in conversations that people are having is because this unfortunate event happened with a black woman who was assaulted by a man with a brick. Apparently he was trying to hit on her, make an advance toward her. And she rejected him, and he hit her with the brick. I'm not exactly sure what the scenario is. So that's why I'm trying not to expound on it too much. There's a lot of people that talk about something without the details. So I'm not trying to get too much into the details of it, other than there was a woman who was attacked by a man with a brick. She says there were other men that were present and did not do anything to aid her, so she concluded then that black women are not protected. That's why we call this guardians of ghosts. Are black men guardians or are black men ghosts? This is this conversation is interesting to me because, I mean, you tell me, but wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago we were celebrating black men coming to the rescue of other people? I mean, weren't we just celebrating that with the Alabama riverboat thing when the security guard threw his hat up in the air and it was a clarion call for help and support, and, black community was celebrating how we got each other's back? All I'm saying is this. Let's stop overreacting, especially in the negative direction. There's a whole lot of good black men out there. There's a whole lot of good black women out there. There's a lot of good people, period, out there. And to paint with a broad brush any group of people because of the worst of us is just not productive. We come from a culture that believes in it takes a village. And in that village, understand everybody in that village is not going to be productive. Everybody in that village is not going to be positive, but it's a lot of people in the village that still are. So it is unfortunate that there are some men that don't handle their business. It's unfortunate it's some women out there that don't handle their business, but it's a lot of black women that are protected in their communities and a lot of black men that are protected by black women. We know this. You know some of them. I know some of them, just like I know some people that ain't hitting on nothing. But we can't paint everybody with, these incidents. That's what keeps us riled up and not together as a culture, as a people, as a nation. So let's try to do better than that and not just jump to conclusions, because I know I see men every day. They do everything they can to take care of the people that God has placed around them. And I see women every day that do everything they can to take care of the people that God has placed around them. And the worst of us have to stop classifying the rest of us. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. And so, without further ado, he's coming back again. He show up every week just for me to I guess he likes the education in sports. So he comes and I help educate him a little bit. None other than Mr. Malik. I call you Mr. Malik. That it was a rapper back in the day. He only had like one hit, but his name was Mr. Malik.
Oh, one hit wonder.
Yeah. I'm still waiting on you to get your one hit though. So here we go. You got anything to say before we get into it?
Man, all I want to say is I wish you good luck, and let's get straight into it.
All right, cool. So, okay, yeah. So in order to understand what we are going to discuss, there is a gold medal winning Olympian and track star, and he had this to say.
World champion on they head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times, but that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
All right. Now, Kyle, his comments created a certain amount of controversy in America because people were like, you can't say that NBA champions aren't world champions. But I'm like, yes, he absolutely can say that for the very reasons that he gave. I am in 100% agreement with him that you can't have a championship that only happened in America and call yourself the world champions.
Well, if you even when we do think about basketball, even in the United States, we established ourselves as a global power back in the 90s, especially with Jordan when it comes to basketball first and foremost. And is it a fair statement to say that when it comes to competition and just basketball itself, that the United States has the best basketball league compared to other countries?
I think it's hard to say that. And the reason I think it's hard to say that is because what do we really have to compare it to other than the Olympics that happen every 4 years? And this is why this conversation came back up, because while all these NBA enthusiasts were saying, you can't say we're not the world champions, you can't say we're not the world champions. Do you know what just happened a couple of days ago to Team USA? They lost to Lithuania in the Basketball World Cup. I'm going to say that again. The United States USA team in the Basketball World Cup lost to none other than the powerful and mighty Lithuania.
And I've been waiting for you to bring that up.
Oh,
And
yeah,
because
that's why we're talking about it. He said that he caught a whole lot of flack, and then the United States went and lost to Lithuania.
Okay, well, to speak on that, even though the United States lost to Lithuania, I'm pretty sure it's quite clear that our best isn't even on the Olympic team to begin with. And then two, when it comes to the United States, we put more value when it comes to winning the finals championship than we do the Olympics. When was the last time you heard somebody talking about Michael Jordan and that brought up how many times he went to the Olympics and won gold compared to the 6 rings, the 6 championships he got?
Yeah, but I really think that's to the point of what I'm saying. Like, if the championship in the United States being more important to us does not mean we have players that can just beat the whole world. That's matter of fact, that's why Jordan had to make a comeback, because we were getting manhandled in the Olympics. And after Jordan and with them, we had to have the redemption team, because once they exited, Team USA started to lose again. And if it wasn't for Kobe, may he rest in peace, we wouldn't have returned to prominence as soon as we did. The day and time where America can just say we're the best just because we're America, those days are over. You got to prove it. America does not lead the way in much. Other than some things that, I don't want to get into some of those other things. So, but what I'm saying is, if you have not proven you are the best on the court against other teams comprised just to beat you, you can't say you're the world champ.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So I don't know if you remember this or not, but we had a debate about 5 weeks ago on the greatest point guard between Magic Johnson and Steph Curry.
Oh, I like that. You gonna pull something out 5 weeks ago? Okay, go ahead. I want to hear this.
And so one thing that you said was you brought up Stephen A. Smith and how you pretty much agreed with when he said that Stephen Curry is the best shooter on God's green earth and
best shooter ever. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And so you absolutely agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
I'm glad you say that. So when you decided, when you decided in your mind that Stephen Curry was the best shooter on God's green earth, did you look into Europe and kind of analyze their best shooters, or did you look into Lithuania and kind of investigate their best shooters, or was your mindset was if he's the best shooter in the United States, then he's just the best shooter ever because this is the top performing league in the world?
Yeah. So I came to the conclusion he is the best based on the information I have. There might be somebody else out there. I don't know. That's the whole point of this conversation, that you cannot conclude that you are the absolute best at something if you have not put that up against the world. So Olympians, they go race against the best in the world. Now I know somebody saying, because here we go, somebody's like, yeah, but hold on. We got the best players here, and their best players come here. Therefore, if their best players come here, that means we're world champs. Nah, invalid argument. If your team, USA is not going against another country's team specifically comprised for a world championship, you cannot classify yourself as something you have not competed for. You can give yourself that title all you want to, but you didn't compete against the world. Therefore, how can you say you defeated the world? Because a few people, 23% of the NBA is foreign players.
Right.
That ain't the world. That's one player over here on that team, one player over there on that team, one player over there on that team. So how can you say you defeated the world just because you got a few players from around the world? That ain't defeating the world, man. That's defeating some players from around the world.
But like I was saying earlier, when it does come to the United States and competition-wise, like whenever we think about competition and like even looking at other leagues, the best competition does come from the United States.
But that's an American perspective of it. I saw Yoke. Matter of fact, let me run this list down before we even make this point. All right. Yoke. Just won an NBA championship.
Did.
Won NBA Finals MVP. He's not from America.
Right.
All right. Embiid.
Okay.
Just won MVP.
Right.
Not from here.
Right.
Okay. Let me keep the list going. Giannis. Won MVP before him. Not from here.
Right.
Luka Doncic. One of the best players in the league right now. Not from America. The number one draft pick this year, 2023, Victor Wembanyama. Not from here.
Okay.
So for us to act like all talent is emanating from the United States is invalid, and we know that. So if we are not taking teams from other places with their best, we can't say just because it's some people from around America that makes us the world champs. It doesn't, especially if we see that most of the best players that are in the NBA right now aren't even from the United States.
But that makes our point even more valid because that goes to show that the best players in the world are trying to come here to begin with.
I looked that up too. What is the best paying league?
The best paying league?
Yeah.
It has to be the United States, the NBA.
That's right. So they come here because they can get paid more, but that don't mean there aren't people elsewhere that don't have more skill. Yeah, you just come here, you can get paid more. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's a difference. Look like our time is out, man. It was good though.
It was.
It was good. So you see how I'm right though.
I see your point. But I still have to go on what I said to begin with.
All right. Good discussion, man. Good discussion. All right. Well, next thing I want to discuss, and I'm going to put these two things together so we can keep this train rolling. What's on my heart, what's in my soul. Then we're going to do the prayer list, and I'll bid you adieu. What's on my heart and what's in my soul. I'm putting these two things together. I had a conversation, and shout out to the Reverend Jeremiah Levitt, and up in Virginia. God bless you, my brother. We were having this conversation, and I can't remember if I believe you're the one that brought this up, but I feel like, and maybe it's just from my perspective, which is why I'm bringing this to the conversation, because I would love for y'all to let me know what you're seeing, because perhaps what I'm seeing is inaccurate and it's just from my vantage point of what's happening in the world right now. But I feel like it's not as many people being called into the ministry lately, really since the pandemic hit. I feel like before the pandemic hit, every time I turned around, I was getting some notice, some heads up that this person was going into ministry, that this person had been called to preach, that this person was going to do their initial sermon, that it was to the point where you'd have multiple people doing their first sermon on the same day because it was just so many people being called into the ministry. And now I scarcely see people going into the ministry. But like I said, maybe it's just my area, maybe it's just my perspective, and maybe it's just as many people being called into the ministry. But it feels like since the pandemic, there's been a drastic slowdown in it, and I don't know what that means, and I don't know if that's accurate or not. So but I know the word needs to be preached, and I know that ministry still needs to be done in our communities and in our churches. So I know the need, is just as great as it's ever been. I'm just wondering if maybe with the proliferation of social media that some people are like, well, I don't know that I want to necessarily jump into that because, you used to be able to just go to a church and speak to the people that are there. But now with everything being broadcast, anything you say, you got to stand on it and you got to stand by it. And even more to the point, you have to live by it. So maybe those increased standards because of the increased visibility has decreased people's willingness to go to accept the call of the ministry. But it is something that I wanted to broach because it's been on my heart and on my mind and in my soul. So y'all let me know. Are people you think people going into the ministry at the same rate that they used to? Does it seem like it's sped up, slowed down? Because I'm curious to see what your perspective and what your opinion of it is. So let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Can't wait to see what your opinions are of it. Hey, listen, guess what? I have a special. Well, it's special for me because we're about to do the prayer list, but I get to do the prayer list with my partner, with my prayer list partner. Let me introduce you, none other than my dad, the other part of Double Stack, C. David Stackhouse. Come on in. Boom.
Ooh, ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, all right.
See, David Stackhouse in the house.
Yeah. So listen,
Yes,
Dave,
sir.
good to have you on this Pastor Stack podcast. We normally do Double Stack together, but since schedule changed a little bit, I've been doing this, but I know we're going to get back to Double Stack at some point.
And I have a vision for getting back to Double Stack. I'll share that at some point.
All right. So now, prayer list, the prayer list. We take somebody that's had some type of odd
That's right.
struggle and make sure that we lift them up in prayer.
That's one prayer list that you, Brother Roy, you don't want on this prayer list. Malik, you
Is
don't
he
want
pretty
to be
good on the
prayer
mic?
list.
Does he need to move up a little bit? Okay. All right. Cool.
On this prayer list.
All right. Okay. So here we go. Shout out to Kimberly. Yeah, Kimberly. She is a third grade teacher. And as you know, school just started back up again. Matter of fact,
education is dear to my heart.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you're working at school now, and I know that's going well, working with the kids and mentoring and things of that nature.
I'm like Martin. I love the kids.
Yeah. So, all right. So listen, Kimberly, she is a third grade teacher. It was the first day of school, and I know you're like, well, third grade teacher, first day of school.
Smooth day.
Yeah. Why is she on the prayer list from the first day of school? Well, some people thought she was acting a little strange, a little erratic, perhaps like she was a little drunk. So, but I know you like, she can't be drunk. It's
Not on the first day.
It's the first day of school.
Maybe the second or third.
Yeah, so
First.
So administration comes and they, pull her to the side, and she tells them that she'd been up to 3 a.m. drinking. Yeah, 3 a.m.
She came clean.
Yeah, because she wanted them to know she wasn't drinking then. At the job. Yeah, she was like, no, I'm not, which is very responsible.
Yeah,
She wasn't drinking at the job, but she stayed up to 3 a.m. drinking. Now, most teachers I know got to be up and out of the house by 6. So she hypothetically caught 2.5 hours of sleep, woke up.
So high, she never knew.
Yeah, and so.
Never knew.
And she had a cup. But
On her desk.
yeah, cup
what
like that.
are
But
those cups? I love my teacher.
yeah, but turns out there was nothing but juice in the cups. That's what I'm saying. So she did not drink on the job. She drank before the job, but nonetheless,
Amen, Kimberly.
But nonetheless, she was drunk at work, and she's in a bit of hot water now as a result.
Can we say that she was intoxicated? Does that soften it some, or
She was definitely intoxicated.
Okay.
Slurred speech and a little stumbling in her walk, but so she's in some hot water, and
I know her third grade students enjoyed that.
hey, man, can you imagine that? I have a 4th grader and a 6th grader, and I can only imagine But being a teacher is difficult.
It is.
Being a teacher is difficult.
It is.
We all know they are underpaid. We all
Shout
know.
out to every teacher.
Yeah, we know our schools are underfunded, but you can't come to work like that.
And the first day.
First day. So I don't know if it was drinking because she had to get up a little liquid courage to go back into the classroom, or she was so glad to be going back into the classroom.
That's right.
Malik,
she was just so glad she could not contain herself.
Either way it goes, you can't come to the schoolhouse like that.
She can't get a break the first day.
No, you can't get no break for that. So here we are. Last thing before we put Kimberly on the prayer list, and I didn't even say what state she's in because I don't want to make her profile too big. She got enough on her plate.
That's right.
But how old do you think this teacher is?
I say 42.
All right, you say 42?
42.
66.
66? All right, Roy, how old do you think this teacher is?
About 28.
28? Okay,
Well,
we got 42, 28,
And
66.
what about you? What about you out there?
Yeah, what do you think? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Well, how old do you think Kimberly is, who this third grade teacher that showed up still intoxicated, inebriated, if you will? This is how old she was.
Well, when I first from drunk, intoxicated, and what?
Inebriated. It's just a fancy way to say drunk.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Now, this is how old she
Inebriated.
is. She's my age. She's 43 years old. You just 1 year off. You were just 1 year off last week. So you doing good, man. You doing good.
Your age kind of, you ought to get tore up on it.
Listen, man. Every age get tore up.
Oh,
Every age get tore up. So, but look, all the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina, right here, double stack. Back together again.
We're back.
Back
Double
together
stack.
again. We are going to put you on the prayer list.
Put you on the prayer list.
All right, listen. That's our podcast. Thank you for tuning in one more time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to know somebody to tell somebody. Let's go on this journey together of good, positive, fun conversations. We'll see you the next time. Be safe, be blessed.
And let me announce.
Yeah, I'm gonna say anything you want to say.
Let me announce that I have a plan I'm going to present to my partner on Double Stack, because we plan to see you before this year is out with something you cannot begin to imagine. It's going to blow your mind. Get ready.
And Pastor Chef is making a comeback too. So,
Yay, that's part of what I
we
want
working
to
on a whole lot of stuff. But all right,
That's part of
until
what
the
I-
next time,
Yeah. I'll see you back
and away we
with Double Stack.
go.